got more leaks and news about the upcoming iPhone 12. We've got details on the launch date, details of the production specs and hardware, as well as some more hands-on footage. We've also got bad news for some of you that are in hope of 5G. Before we get into it though, please like the video if you're looking forward to the iPhone 12 and let me know in the comments what model you want the most. Today we're going to start with the hands-on footage. Some of you may have already seen it, but it's more footage of the iPhone 12 from Mako Takara. Now I'm going to be blunt here, it's sort of useless and I don't know what the idea behind it is. He's 3D printed 4 models of the Apple iPhone 12 and he gives us a hand-on comparison of inaccurate information. What we have here is an iPhone 11 looking device printed into different sizes. The camera modules on the back appear to be wrong, the notch is too big and it just doesn't fall in line with any information from our credible sources. So all I'm saying here is I personally think we should just ignore this video. It would have been good to get an idea of the different sizes, but even that's incorrect with the iPhone 12 Pro Max at 6.5 inches instead of the 6.7. But next up we've got news on the launch of the Apple iPhone 12. While many were hoping it was going to be September, it's just not going to be happening, but it should hopefully only be delayed by 1 month. A new report from DigiTimes has stated that the mass production of the 6.1-inch iPhone 12 Max is going to begin in July or August, and this is earlier than the rest of the range. The reason for this is because it's the only model that's going to have the display manufactured by BOE and LG. The rest of the range will of course be using Samsung displays. It's believed that this is to ensure the quality of these displays is good enough because of where the touch modules are being sourced from. When it comes to the Samsung displays, the touch modules are directly on the OLED panel, so it's not an issue. We're also seeing current iPhone prices dropping slightly, and that's no doubt thanks to a drop in the market. Global iPhone sales have dropped by an estimated 8% in Q1, but that's not too bad considering the smartphone market as a whole has actually dropped by 20%. This could mean some more competitive pricing on the iPhone 12 however, and if the iPhone SE is anything to go by, then they've shown it can be done. Now we've got some bad news on the 5G of the iPhone 12, but luckily it's not all bad news. All 4 versions of the iPhone 12 are going to be 5G, and that's apparently why the SIM tray has been moved, but unfortunately not all phones are going to be equal. For those that want the 6.1-inch iPhone 12 Pro or the 6.7-inch iPhone 12 Pro Max, you guys are going to be fine. Both will support 5G and they'll support the sub-6 GHz and the millimeter wave. For those of you that want the 5.4-inch iPhone 12 or the 6.1-inch iPhone 12 Max, the phones will support 5G, but they'll only be able to utilize the sub-6 GHz band. This means that while it will be faster than 4G LTE, you won't get the 1 gigabit per second speed that millimeter wave can provide. That being said, in real-world use, millimeter wave has very limited range and it requires line of sight. So if you're not actually going to be near a 5G node, then you'll be somewhat unaffected. Personally, we're still in the early days of 5G, so I wouldn't worry too much about this, but I know many are concerned with future-proofing on their devices. Now for those of you that want detailed specs for each device, we've already had all of the information for all 4 models of the iPhone 12. For my regular viewers, you guys have already seen this bit, so just skip to the next video, but if you're new here then don't forget to hit subscribe and we'll get right into it. So to start with, we've got the entry-level model of the Apple iPhone 12, and this is of course going to be called the iPhone 12. It's a 5.4-inch iPhone with an OLED Super Retina display from Samsung. Now it's important to note straight off the bat that Super Retina means absolutely nothing, so don't get too caught up on that. But it's going to be an OLED display at a resolution of 2340 by 1080, which gives us 475 pixels per inch, and it has an 8-bit color depth. While there have been rumours of all models having a 120Hz display, unfortunately this model is 60Hz only. It's going to be equipped with 4GB of RAM and a choice of 128 or 256 storage, and it's made of an aluminium body and of course uses the A14 Bionic with 5G support. The iPhone 12 comes with a dual camera setup on the rear, and it will of course be shipping with iOS 14. For those of you that want the iPhone 12 with 4 gigs of RAM and 128 storage, it's going to be launching at $649. If you want 4 gigs of RAM and 256 storage, it's $749. Next up, we've got the iPhone 12 Max. To be clear, this is the Max and not the Pro Max. The iPhone 12 Max has a 6.1-inch OLED display. This is again a Super Retina OLED display, but provided by Chinese manufacturer BOE. It comes with a resolution of 2532 by 1170, and this gives us 460 pixels per inch, and it has an 8-bit color depth. We get 4 gigs of RAM and a choice of 128 or 256 storage, and of course the iPhone 12 Max is powered by the A14 Bionic chip. It's in an aluminium body, it's got 5G connectivity, and we get another dual camera setup on the rear. For those of you that want the 128GB version of the iPhone 12 Max, it's going to be launching at $749, and if you want the 256GB version, it rises to $849. Next up, we've got the iPhone 12 Pro. The iPhone 12 Pro has a 6.1-inch display, so it's actually the same size as the iPhone 12 Max, but we've got an improved display and specs. On the iPhone 12 Pro, we've got a 6.1-inch Super Retina display with ProMotion and a 10-bit color depth. The display is manufactured by Samsung, and it's got a resolution of 2532 by 1170, which gives us 460 pixels per inch, and it is of course a 120Hz display. The iPhone 12 Pro comes with 6 gigs of RAM and a choice of 128, 256 or even 512 internal storage. It of course ships with Apple's A14 Bionic, and the iPhone 12 Pro is 5G compatible. It comes in a stainless steel body, and on the rear we get a triple camera setup along with a LiDAR sensor for the depth. For the 128GB iPhone 12 Pro, it's launching at $999. For 256GB, it's $1,099, and for those that want the 512GB iPhone 12 Pro, it's $1,299. Last but not least, we have the iPhone 12 Pro Max. The iPhone 12 Pro Max comes with a 6.7-inch OLED display. Again, it's a Super Retina with ProMotion, 10-bit color depth, and of course it is manufactured by Samsung. It's got a resolution of 2778 by 1284, giving us 458 pixels per inch, and again it's a 120Hz display. It comes with 6 gigs of RAM and a choice of 128, 256 or 512 storage. It's in a stainless steel body, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max is of course powered by the A14 Bionic with 5G support. Just like the iPhone 12 Pro, we get a triple camera setup on the rear along with the additional LiDAR sensor. For those of you that want the 128GB iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's launching at $1,099. If you want the 256GB version, it's $1,199, and for those that want the most expensive in the range, the 512GB iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's launching at a whopping $1,399. Of course, there's plenty more information on the Apple iPhone 12, so we're going to run through it all now. For my regular viewers, you guys would have already seen this, so just switch off now, but for anyone new here, make sure you hit that subscribe, and we're going to get right into it. We're expecting to get 4 new iPhone 12s in the range, which is going to be 2 different iPhone 12s, the iPhone 12 Pro and the iPhone 12 Pro Max. We're expecting Apple to increase the display sizes on the most premium models, although those who want a smaller display are still going to have an option. Reliable analyst Ming-Chi Kuo has advised that there's going to be 2 iPhone 12 versions. The smaller iPhone 12 is going to have a 5.4-inch display, and the larger one will have a 6.1-inch. We then get a 6.1-inch display, which is the iPhone 12 Pro, and a 6.7-inch display, which is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Unlike last year, however, all models are reportedly going to be using an OLED display, and the resolution will differ across the range. The 6.1-inch iPhone 12 will likely have a lower resolution than the 6.1-inch iPhone 12 Pro. And while there are rumors of Apple removing the notch, I really can't see this happening. In typical Apple fashion, we're still expecting a full-screen display with a notch top center. It's too early for in-display camera sensors, and I can't see Apple going for a punch hole. They also need a time-of-flight sensor on the front for their 3D face unlock. And while Apple did ditch the fingerprint scanner on the iPhone X, there are reports that it's going to be coming back in the form of an in-display fingerprint scanner. There are reports suggesting that Apple are also going to be increasing their refresh rates on the latest displays. While most phones have stuck to 60Hz displays, it's been changing recently, and Apple are also going to be joining this trend. At this stage, we don't know if they're going to be using 90Hz, 120Hz, or even a mixture of the two across the range. When it comes to the rear of the device, we're expecting a similar camera setup to last year, but the more premium model will have more cameras. Ming-Chi Kuo has again advised that both the iPhone 12 Pro and the iPhone 12 Pro Max are going to be adding time-of-flight cameras to the rear. For those unaware, time-of-flight cameras are 3D depth cameras and they're what Apple uses on the front for the 3D face unlock. The time-of-flight sensors on the rear, however, use slightly different technology that allow it to map 3D objects from further away. This significantly improves augmented reality applications and allows for more improved portrait-style photo and video effects. We're likely going to see slight upgrades on the other cameras of the iPhone 12s, but given the great performance in its predecessor, they won't be changing things too much. Reports are suggesting that the two more budget models are going to have a dual camera setup, while the iPhone 12 Pro and the iPhone 12 Pro Max are going to have a quad camera setup with the inclusion of the 3D depth camera. The iPhone 12 is of course going to be powered by the new A14 Bionic processor. This is actually manufactured using 5nm lithography, which will bring significant improvements, and there's a good chance that it will be the first 5nm chipset to hit the market. When it comes to RAM, the iPhone 12 Pro Max is expected to come with 6GB of RAM, while the standard iPhone 12 will only have 4. This is something that I think Apple actually do well compared to Android manufacturers, where they throw in unnecessarily large amount of memories, causing the consumer to pay for memory that they don't even need. When it comes to storage, we're expecting a choice of 64, 256 or 512GB of internal storage. For the first time ever, consumers felt Apple did a great job in prioritizing the battery life on the predecessor, so hopefully that's something that's going to continue with the iPhone 12. While graphene batteries are still out of the question, we can expect a 5.4-inch iPhone 12 to be around 2,800 mAh. The 6.1-inch is probably going to be around 3,150, and the 6.7-inch should contain around a 4,300 mAh battery. One thing that is a little unknown at the moment is of course 5G connectivity. Apple are very bad when it comes to 5G thanks to earlier issues with Qualcomm, so we're unsure at this stage if that's something we will see in the iPhone 12. It's rumored that the iPhone 12 is going to have 5G connectivity, but there aren't actually any leaks or reports to back that up. The iPhone 12 is going to be IP68 water resistant, and it's of course going to ship with iOS 14. Now when it comes to the price, people wanted lower prices, and that's exactly what we're getting. Apple surprised us last time, they surprised us again with the iPhone SE, and now the iPhone 12 is going to be the same. We'll be getting the base 5.4-inch iPhone 12 starting at $649, the iPhone 12 6.1-inch at $749, the iPhone 12 Pro 6.1-inch at $999, and finally the iPhone 12 Pro Max 6.7-inch phone at $1,099. Some very reasonable prices from Apple, who have clearly been focusing on keeping the costs down. Of course, it's not all about specs, and we're likely going to see some new software features or improvements to the current features in iOS 14. The iPhone 12 is set to launch in September as always, and it's always around the second week they release, so we can expect to see the iPhone 12 range on either the 8th or the 15th of September, and the iPhone 12 will be released about 10 days afterwards. Of course, being so far away, these are leaks and rumours, but as more information comes to light, I'll be sharing with you guys straight away. As always though, I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments. Who out there is waiting for the Apple iPhone 12? What model are you waiting for, and does the 5G difference bother you? But thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, smash a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down twice, and I'll see you guys in the